So we begin on Flarenith the 15th in the year 4997 PC, post concordance. On the first day of the Great Saffron Feast, moments before the feast is set to begin, in the square of Valthar, thousands and thousands of people are packed into the square here. Valthar itself sits at the water's edge, right on the shore of the Etheric Sea, and there are canals dug deep into the city where boat traffic can go in and out through various waterways in the city to quickly traverse from different parts of the city. So it's like a Venice type of thing. But the square is a giant marble square, and in the center of the square is the giant clock tower, the Chrono Keeper.
We're in Valthar?
Tower. Yes, you're in Valthar.
Thank you.
Thousands of people in the square, all of them, many of them, the vast majority of them, carrying satchels, orange satchels in their hand, with smiles on their faces and glancing about at each other in anticipation. There are many different stalls and kiosk-like setups throughout the square that are temporary structures that are being inhabited by vendors of one sort or another. You can see that there are weaponsmiths selling knives. There are people that are selling rare foods and spices. There are all kinds of different food vendors that have saffron-themed food things that are going on. The whole saffron theme going on. Clothing, magical trinkets, nothing powerful or useful, just like the pipe of monsters or whatever that you can blow pictures and pipes.
And a billowing cloak.
Yeah, a billowing cloak, stuff like that. We're going to focus in on two figures. Both of them are wearing concordance cloaks with the hoods up. One towers over the other and is scanning the crowd rapidly back and forth. In the spaces where the cloak doesn't quite cover, we can see that his flesh is only partially that of a mortal being, but that crystal and wood and stone are also present in his body. His eyes have a crystalline glow to them as he stares about. Next to him, a smaller, slimmer figure, also cloaked and hooded, but where skin shows through, alabaster shows. Stone-like visage, like a statue wearing a cloak. But this statue is moving and looking around. It's a woman. Fine features, beautiful, but completely looking like a statue if you can see her face.
There are some golden features on her face. Most notably, her irises are gold. Her eyebrows, eyelashes, and lips.
So those features do stand out, but she is shading herself with that hood of that cloak, trying to keep those features hidden. But looks exhausted.
Speaking of which, do I have a point of exhaustion, you said?
Yes, you would have a point of exhaustion.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if I can apply that in this version of rules.
That's fine. I'm pulling it up on Google.
But the way it works in 2024, I'd imagine Fantasy Grounds cuts it in there.
It's still not under the conditions. Wow. So
It is
shocked you don't
disadvantage
auto-
on ability checks. That's all.
Yep, no. In the update, it's a scaling thing, -1 to most rolls per level of exhaustion.
Anyway, we'll get to that when it becomes important. You can look up the 2024 version of the rules. Where were we? Oh, she is exhausted looking. As they are looking around, or as the taller figure is looking around, the smaller figure suddenly stiffens. Just as the first stroke of noon starts on the chrono tower. The panels of the chrono tower begin to open. The figures of the concordance story become to come out. The bong is just repeating over and over. Everybody, you can. It is very noticeable that at the first bong of the tower, everybody raises their hands up with their saffron grenades ready to toss at the last chime of noon. But as the first chime goes off and everything begins to happen on the chrono tower, that is also when this female statuesque figure stiffens, raises tall, her cloak the hood falls back from her upraised face as she begins to loudly intone. T.O.S., this is when you would feel that oracle state come over her. And she shouts out.
Here, not now.
Yeah. She shouts out above the heads of the crowd.
Your voice is falling out.
Ooh. I don't want to read this until it seems like it's working okay, so let me know.
Yeah, I think it's just a volume thing.
Okay. She shouts out above the crowd. The veil trembles. 15 millennia has worn thin. Where titans of Tana stir beneath the skin. Zirathax uncoils. The scale tip to the fray. Stone whispers secrets. Seek the light, or night holds sway. The concordance's silence breaks. A hollow statue's reign ends. 5 lights fade, and chaos floods the plain. And then the crowd, you relax suddenly as that exhaustion takes a brand new hold upon you. The crowd
She will
gasps
lean against T.O.S. for support.
as all of you who are gathered here see the impossible happen in front of you. It's obvious from the first glance you have as the hood falls back that the oracle statue has been brought to Valthar. And then it intones this very odd prophecy.
Are you moving away from your mic at all when you're talking?
No, it's on a boom right next to my mouth.
Sounds great right there, what you just said. Otherwise, you're going in and out a lot.
Is it going in and out now when I'm talking like this?
No, but try moving it back away from your mouth a little bit.
How is that?
It should be about 6 inches away from your mouth at the closest.
6 inches? This thing isn't even 6 inches long. It is 3 inches long.
Oh, it's not on a boom. It's on your headset.
Yeah, it's on my headset.
Okay. Yeah, just keep trying.
So all of you saw the impossible happen. The moment that her hood falls back, you can see that the the oracle statue has been brought to Valthar, brought to the feast, which is not common. And then it gives a prophecy, which is even more rare for the public to see in general.
Are you going to give us a copy of that prophecy, like written out?
Yes, I will.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And then you see the impossible happen, and that is that the prophecy ends and the statue does not revert to a statue. It begins to look around and look exhausted and look tired and is breathing, and it looks alive, and that is impossible. At that moment is when the last chime of noon plays out, and a sporadic throwing of saffron grenades happens. It starts slowly and then picks up a little bit, but not everyone participates. Many, many, many eyes just stare at the oracle as T.O.S., you are staring back at all those eyes, wondering which ones are
just
threats and which ones are just witnesses. But it's obvious that maybe everything right now is a threat. For the first time in your memory, the secret's out. The Oracle has broken character in public, in a very public space. And as you try to take all this in, you hear a shout from behind you. Turning to look, you see 10 temple guards pushing people out of the way, trying to get past the clouds of saffron in the area as they're being pelted with them, because who wouldn't? And they're like being choked out, but they are moving in your direction.
I kind of brace Selen a little bit more and make sure she's on her feet, and then I lean in and whisper, "We have to go now."
Selen will grip onto his arm, and I'll allow him to take her wherever she needs to be. No hesitation in following him.
All right. Let's get a dexterity check from both of you. Do we have your exhaustion blah 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 figured out?
I'm trying to find the rule for it online, and it's hard to find.
I'm pretty sure it's -1 to attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws per level of exhaustion. Might not be saving throws now. I'm saying that.
That's in the players, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When a character is exhausted, they suffer from 3 effects. Results of all D20 tests are reduced by 2 times the exhaustion level. Movement speed is reduced by 5 feet per exhaustion level. If a character's exhaustion level reaches 6, that character dies. I'm at exhaustion level 1.
Yes.
I have a -2 to D20 tests.
All right. So all your rolls are at -2.
And my movement speed is reduced by 5.
Yes.
So what did you need?
Dexterity check. You don't really have a target number. The higher, the better here.
You'll have to throw mine out.
Mine is an 11.
And T.O.S. gets a 10. So, T.O.S. in the lead yanks on Selen's arm just hard enough to throw her off balance a little bit, and slams into the nearest people in the crowd, trying to push past them as the ones who are up close to what just happened are very much like frozen.
Awestruck.
Yeah. That's a good word for it. Awestruck. So they're not really like operating on the full level. You're having to push them, and they're not really moving out of your way. In fact, they would be trying to push back a little bit to try to get close to the obvious living oracle in their presence.
I got an action.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Kaylen's going to move forward a bit from his cheese stand. He's like, "Oh, yo, move aside, move aside. You act like you haven't seen a street performer before. Look, she's tired. Let her come over here and get some cheese. Move aside." Can I make a persuasion on that?
Yeah, make a persuasion check on that. You got a 12. That's not too bad.
I made a face.
I would say that most of the people in the area begin to make a path between you and the two that are pushing through. T.O.S., there is a definite. You hear a dwarven voice ahead of you somewhere shout that out, and then a bunch of people make a path of least resistance in that direction for you.
Who we lose?
Probably Josh.
He's back.
Guys, we're back. Help them. Ideas, but I don't know if it'll.
Josh, was that you we lost for a second?
Josh is still lost.
Want to help them.
Josh is, I know, right now he's going, son of a bitch!
He's like, right now? Really?
Yeah.
Drive safely. Drive safely. Want to help Selen and T.O.S.?
Dad?
What?
Kim's talking to you.
Oh, I did not hear. What was it, Kim?
I don't know if is there any way I can help them? Question.
That's up to you. You are standing
Question.
at the
Standing
base,
and I noticed
the base
them.
of the Chrono Tower.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Is the Chrono Tower? Is there a? Okay, I don't know if I should just ask. Okay, y'all didn't hear this. If it is a bit, okay, nobody else here. Is it? Is there like a way of? Can I hide them for a second? Like, is there a doorway? You know, like in clock towers and things. Can I hide them in the clock? My point, I guess. Like, since I would be very familiar with the clock, I would know if there's like a spot, and I have like I would want to.
You might have some very intimate knowledge of like some maintenance quarters within the clock, but you guys would not have built in like a room, especially not a room big enough for like that guy.
Dang. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Because I was like, maybe I could sneak them here so they could breathe for 1 second and figure out what to do next. Got it. Darn. Because I'm watching all this happen. I started to step out when the chime started to go off, but then all the crazy happened. And so I just hide my crystal back in my robe pocket, my cloak pocket.
Yeah, it's definitely the crystal is pulsing and like pointing straight at those two.
Yeah. And now, of course, I know them for who they are. And
yeah,
I go to step out.
There he is.
We are hauling ass.
I
really want
assume that T.O.S. is going to take you down that path of least resistance. towards the.
Yep, as long as it's.
Yeah, there he is.
Yep, yeah, sorry, I don't know, my phone just didn't like being connected to the Bluetooth anymore, so
You're
now
good.
I'm just through the phone, but I can still hear fine.
So yeah, the path of least resistance leads to about 30 feet away a older dwarf who is standing in a cheese vendor stand with big rounds of cheese and
Several
slices
other
of cheese all over the place.
Cheesy.
From above, him.
I heard him make the.
What was that?
Sorry. I heard him make the persuasive statement, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And Kaylen, or James just wrote into the thing, Kaylen is a bald dwarf with blonde hair that's showing a bit of gray. His armor is a combination of chain and harmonized iron with a purple hue to match his amethyst path, finishing in a chain skirt with greaves tied to his calves and bare feet.
Nice.
Up top, on a nearby rooftop, him and Xemo, the two of you, looking down on the crowd, witness what just occurred. You've spent the last 2 days following their trail, staying away from the temple guards that chase them while maintaining your own chase. And now the two of them are right there, and they're heading to a cheese merchant.
Who'd have thought she likes cheese?
Oh my god! Crap!
Don't like crowds. They make me nervous.
Oh my god!
There's lots
The
of people
silence.
around.
Oh my goodness.
The silence for like a second was crazy. Continue.
Ben, or wait, yeah. Do not talk in the chat. Talk on your mic, please. In character. Where are they?
I guess we're hauling ass towards the cheese man.
Yep. I'll be looking at him trying to get a sense of. Actually, can I make an insight check to see if I believe what he said is what he believes, or?
Yeah, give me an insight.
I would also like to make an insight check.
Yes, you can make an insight check with a -2, and Toss, you can make an insight check with advantage because this is what you do.
Cool, just throw it out there.
I have no clue. I'm too tired.
Where is it? Where is it? So Selen gets an insight of 9, and Toss gets an insight of 18.
Mine's actually 7.
Oh, yeah, because it's got a -2. So with an 18, yeah, he definitely seems genuine to you.
Well, I was trying to pick up if he believes what he says or if he. Okay, That's good enough. Yeah, I'll going straight towards him. Does he have a building, or is he like got a cart?
He's got like a stand there's like a
kiosk,
counter,
right?
Yeah, a kiosk. So there's like a
Right.
facade of a shack around him that's easy to tear down. It's not very structural, but it looks like a wooden shack. But then it's mostly just the counter space with a bunch of heavy cheeses on it and a way to take payment. Oh, speaking of payment, we are using gold piece, silver piece, copper piece, all that kind of stuff, platinum piece. But that's only because the system is easiest to work that way. You can think of these as chips of gems. Gems, flecks of gems, shards of gems are the currency. So you have diamond chips, sapphire, ruby, emerald are the different denominations. But we're just going to refer to them as that. It's just flavor.
Well, as they run skedaddle towards the cheese man place, the cheese stand, can I help out by convincing or persuading the crowd to kind of close in behind him so that they're blocking persuasion to block those that were coming after him?
Yeah, you can see
the crowd.
They are rushing forward with the large man just knocking people aside if they don't move out of the way. Dragging the oracle behind him.
Want to block the people chasing.
You can see that the temple guards, which were about 50 feet behind them through a crowd of people, are also pushing their way through the crowd, although they don't look like they know exactly where to go. And as they're moving, people are continuing to throw saffron sacks at each other, and many of those saffron sacks are making contact with the temple guardsmen, distracting them even further. But they are moving in the general direction that the Oracle and the Eternal Guardian Eternal are at. So how would you like to interfere with their path? I know you want to close the crowd in, but how are you going to get them to do that? T.O.S., just so you know, Kaylen is writing in the chat that he is there with several other dwarves in that shack. He's not the sole dwarf.
Gotcha. All right, we made it to his shack yet, or?
I don't know. Kimberly, did you hear my question?
Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. My bad. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like maybe then instead of necessarily, if the crowd's kind of still doing their thing a little bit, closing behind the opening, maybe if as the guards or whatever that are chasing, like maybe I can step in front of them and go, oh, they went away, or like kind of try to veer them away from the cheese man. The cheese.
And you said him and I are standing on a rooftop?
Yes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So you're just like shouting, or are you gonna?
I don't know. I had a couple ideas and my head's not working very well. I just feel I want to step in, kind of to lead them. I don't know. Well, maybe. No, I wouldn't shout per se, but never mind. I'll figure it out.
Well, I look at him and I say, if they plan to blend in, they're doing a poor job of it.
Speaking of blending in, the saffron grenades are flying chaotically everywhere. So everybody is getting hit with a little bit of saffron powder. Except for Xemo and him, because you guys are on a rooftop.
I detest this stuff. Ugh.
Are most buildings here single story or?
Permanent structures here are mostly made out of marble and granite. They have coral facades placed about in strategic areas to bring the sea into the city. But they usually either 1 or 2 stories tall. The temporary structures all over the place are all 1 story and very rickety. So there's a large open space. Normally, when the festival is not happening, there's a large open space here, maybe 500 foot by 500 foot, with at the dead center, there's the clock tower. Right now, that's all surrounded by buildings that are 1 to 2 stories tall, have the topaz slate roofs, that kind of stuff. Right now, there are hundreds of temporary buildings and carts and stuff like that that are filling up this entire square. And they're all single story or smaller, just a table or a cart.
Maybe I would shout. Maybe I'd be, they're running. I see them. Go that way. They're running towards the shoreline.
Oh, you're like trying to mislead the.
That's what I want to do. Maybe it's
cops.
deception. It's poor on deception. My lie might not hold up. I'm
Run
sad.
up to the path that the guards are intersecting with.
Yes.
And as they come, as they gain sight of you, you point off to the sea and go, "Did I just see the oracle over there?"
That's the idea. And I look silly. I look like a youngins, so.
And
children never lie,
2 of
right?
them stop, look at you, and turn to look in the direction you're pointing, but the other 6, 7, 8 of them rush right past you.
There's so many.
T.O.S.S and Selen, at this point, you guys would make it.
Selen.
Yes, Selen, sorry. You guys make it to the cheese merchant. Kaylen, are you standing outside of your shack, or did you step out in front of it?
Yeah, I'm up towards the front.
Okay, so you guys, T.O.S, you run up to this dwarf who is in armor and looks friendly, inviting.
Oh, yeah, here's a Gravier, a popular, hard, nutty, slightly sweet cheese. You should try some. This here is pale as a sheet. Why don't you guys come on back here, sit down, and take a break? Your street performance looks like it tired you out a bit. Like, start ushering them towards like a seating area, towards the back of the stall, kind of like view.
Yeah, you got a spot where you and your family can take a break back there, sit down, get the weight off your feet.
Those cheese.
I will take my best shot at a deception at which I suck at, and I will lean into the dwarf and tell him, "Yeah, we've been doing this performance for a few days, and the temple said it's illegal because we can't impersonate. So, yeah, can you help us escape them so we can continue our performance?" I'm not even going to roll deception since it's quite obviously a lie.
Oh, okay. I rolled your deception in the tower, so nobody else saw it, but your assessment is correct. It is quite obviously a lie.
Get me in there! Oh my god! Go, go, go!
So, let me do
Now that they're right in front of you, it's hard to deny what the stories have always told you. This looks like a living version of the Oracle and the Guardian Eternal that watches over the statues.
Selen is pulling her hood down over her face so hard. She gripping it.
Oh, well, it's not my place to ask questions. Stir the courage, Kaylen. That's a good dwarf. Come on back. Let's get you something to drink.
Probably suffering from agoraphobia, too.
A little bit.
Good.
All right, so the two of you
What's agoraphobia?
quickly slip behind the counter and are guided into a small black back room that is just hidden enough away that you can be in this area and not see the crowd, but you're not like in a secure location.
No. It's like dwarfs literally start bringing you something to drink and like cheese and shit.
Him, what are you doing? You and Xemo would have just witnessed the Oracle and the Guardian Eternal run into a cheese merchant stand and disappear from view.
Are they working together? She just likes cheese.
There he is. Well,
And if you're trying to talk, you're muted or something. We can't hear you.
okay, try
Can you
talking.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we could only hear you if you speak, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe she's just wanting some cheese.
What are you going to do? You're just going to stay up on the rooftop and watch your prey get away?
We're going to find a way. Need to find a way down. Preferably stairs. Don't like ladders.
It's just a cheese stand, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they probably get perception.
Yeah, the Oracle and the Guardian Eternal disappear into a cheese stand, and further back, 50 feet away, you can see the temple guard closing on the cheese stand, and a gnome speaking with a couple of them and pointing off to the bay.
You're muted.
So what you're saying is I have a very good vantage point of watching everything that's going on right from where I'm at, right?
Yeah, you can see pretty good from where you're at right now what's going on. But what's going on is a chase you're not involved in.
Should probably get down there.
You're muted.
All right, I'll hop on down and wander over to the cheese merchant.
So with feline grace, him just steps off the edge of the roof and falls 2 stories to land on his feet very agilely. Xemo, he didn't use stairs or a damn ladder.
Blast it. I find it. I find a way down.
There are some stairs that you came up.
Okay. I'll descend those and move into the crowd, trying to try not to sneeze on anybody.
Find your way down. It takes you a moment or two, but you do re-find him waiting impatiently for you to get down to what took him a second to do.
While that's going on, Azrael is going to kind of slink her little self in and out of the crowd around the clock tower, so it doesn't look like she's going directly towards the cheese vendor as well. So I can keep an eye on who I'm following. Does that make sense?
Say it again. Sorry, I was typing.
Oh, sorry. Azrael starts moving through the crowd once she realizes her deception obviously did not deter much of anything. And she's going to head toward the cheese vendor as direction they went, but in a roundabout way, maybe around the clock tower and then come in towards cheese vendor from the back.
Yeah, you slip into the crowd, and your small stature allows you to slip between people rather rapidly, and you are able to flank your way around and come up on the back side of the cheese vendor's stand. You can see that the stand is standing on part of the square, and that one of the canals that cuts into the cities as a waterway runs directly behind the cheese vendor shack.
I wonder, do we see the same thing? Possible escape routes? But
Yeah.
That's not my job, though. That's
you would have seen like the canal behind the cheese route from your vantage point on the roof. It would be difficult to see it from your current location on the ground with all these people.
Yeah, that's the hired help's job, though. So, just a quick question, Chuck. What is my purpose if once we reach this false idol?
Well,
what's our goal? I don't know if we ever
went to make sure that him does his job.
Okay.
And you know from your backstory what his job is, right? I don't want to say it out loud for everybody.
I know you sent it to me. I think. Or did you either send it to me or we talked about it? I don't remember.
Yeah, maybe him can tell you what his mission is.
Okay.
Are the guards still making their way towards the cheese stall, or have they lost us?
They are. You don't know. You're in the back. You've lost sight of the crowd, so you don't know what's happening outside.
Oh, well.
We're not going to hang out in there very often. After my attempted deception, we'll thank him and excuse ourselves out the back if possible.
Kaylen, do you want to chime in here with some of that stuff you were just telling me?
Yeah. The Kaylen tells his family delay as much as possible. Then we're going to go out back and instead of those canals, did we use a wagon to get here, or did we use a canal boat? Do we have a canal boat?
You probably would have the fastest and easiest route would have been to take a boat on the etheric sea, but a boat that would be large enough to carry all the stuff that you needed to bring with you and a family, so a fairly sizable ship, and then you would have taken a skiff or something down the canal into the city to unload your stuff. So you probably have a skiff parked in the canal right there behind your shack.
Yeah, it's on his way out of the first hole, he picks up his shield, and you guys would notice that it's a knight's shield. It's a concordant knight shield. It says it's just both. I'll go to yeah.
Anybody else catch that?
Basically, what he said was that you guys see him tell his family, delay as much as you can, and then ushers you guys to the back entrance of the shack. And as you come out, you see that there is a small boat there, big enough for a little bit of cargo and a few people. And he snatches up a shield as he's leaving, and you guys can see that the symbol on the shield, the heraldry on the shield, marks him out as a concordance knight. And then he leads you guys to the boat.
Can you clarify the difference between a concordance knight and a temple guardian? Like the people that are chasing us?
Sorry, what was that again?
What do you mean by concordance knight?
Oh, he's a member of an order of warriors dedicated to the concordance, a paladin order. He's
Okay, so not associated with like
you would associate this as a holy warrior who believes in the oracle and the concordance.
well, shit. After realizing that, well, we're good where we're at.
It's worth it. It's not part of this chain of command.
So we're not getting on the boat?
That's up to you guys.
Well, I'm down to get in the boat. Whichever way is getting us away from there, that's probably better since they don't have a boat.
Yeah, you guys just run out onto the boat. The dwarf gets in behind you and throws off the ties, and the boat begins to move down into the interior of the city in that direction on this canal.
Now, am I back there watching this? Because currently I feel like my goal is to just kind of keep an idea of that they're safe.
Yeah, and are these like gondolas that they're on? Or is this like a multi-passenger boat?
They're multi-passenger. Like the one that they specifically just got on has a large front area of like flatbed where cargo can be stacked, crates and stuff can be stacked, and then there's a few benches at the rear of it with a tiller. and a pole that you can pull your way through the canals on. Gondolas are also here, but they're not on a smaller gondola type of thing. They're on like a skiff.
Okay.
As they board, Selen will stay extremely close to T.O.S.S. She's like not said a single word other than the
prophecy.
You
guys, the prophecy in text.
Mm-hmm. She hasn't said a single word aside from the prophecy, and she's kept her head bowed, hood over her head.
Be right back.
Bad time to BRB with fucking 6 minutes.
Well, I don't know them temple guys.
What'd you say?
You know, I don't know them temple guys. You know, they don't look very nice though. Chasing around a poor girl and a bodyguard. Downright reprehensible.
Selen will look at T.O.S.S at that.
I will notice the heraldry on his equipment and kind of get the realization and just kind of look at him and tell him, those guys wish the Oracle and all of the people who love their harm.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I got too.
Azrael, what would you like to do? You see them board the boat. They're like 15 feet away from you. The boat starts to pull away down the canal.
I don't know how to introduce myself. I feel like I don't know if I would introduce myself to try to get on the boat with them, or if I would just keep track of them since I have ability to follow them with my crystal.
It's up to you. You can speak up. You can just jump on the boat. You can follow behind on land, although you will have to deal with the crowd, but you have a compass.
I feel like I would just kind of currently, for a moment anyway, follow behind on land, just to kind of, so I can keep track of those that might see what's happening. You know, I want to make sure that they get away to somewhere safe, because I saw how exhausted, how worn down the Oracle was, and I want to make sure that there's some way that no harm comes to either of them until they can recoup a bit. So I feel like I will follow more on land since I'm small of stature, and also a visitor in this area. I don't necessarily have a specific place to go to butt in either. Does that make sense?
Yes. So they begin
That's what I
to
will
pull
do.
down the canal away from you, and
Yes.
within moments, you see the guards burst through the opening, the front end of the cheese shop, and you hear commotion going on inside of the cheese stand. Goes on for about 15 seconds or so, and then the captain of the guard steps out the rear and looks down the canal at the boat that's now maybe 150 feet down the canalway, and starts shouting for the others. The others start coming out. You can see that there is a older dwarven woman who is got her arms hugged around one of the guards' ankles, and he is like dragging this dwarf woman behind him as he's trying to come out of the cheese shop. They are completely covered, head to toe, in saffron, making it very difficult to tell that they are actually temple guardsmen and not just other people who are there.
Selen is looking over her shoulder as they sail away, and it does seem like her muscles tends to like stand up, but her muscles give out and she just slumps back down.
You
So
look
do the
back over your
guards
shoulder
see
and
them?
You see the guards piling out of the back of the shop that you were just in and looking your direction, pointing you your direction. But you also see just across the canal from them a small, fiery-haired gnome watching those guards intently.
Watching her, do I get any oracle vibes from her? Like, can I discern anything about her? Maybe via like insight or something?
You can roll an insight in the tower.
-2.
Even -2, that's still pretty good.
What does my oracle sight tell me?
As you watch her, you see her glance back and forth between the guards and in your direction. Back to the guards, and then she looks down at something in her hands, nods to herself, and backs up into the crowd, and you lose sight of her.
I would have tried to hold eye contact with her for as long as possible as she slipped back into the crowd.
Yeah, Azrael, as you are assessing the situation and deciding what to do, you glance back at the Oracle's ship, really glancing back toward the Guardian Eternal, but you make eye contact with the Oracle as you...
I feel like I would do a slight nod towards their way.
So yeah, you receive a slight nod from the gnome, and then she backs into the crowd and disappears from sight.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we'll end it there?
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock, so we're going to end it right there. You guys are moving into the city on the back of the skiff with the dwarf. The gnome has slipped into the crowd, and other members of the party are moving unseen.